What if your intuition guided you, but then trapped you in just one path? INFJs are often described as the mysterious visionaries of the MBTI world. But what happens when their dominant function, NI, Introverted Intuition, becomes too powerful? Imagine a dark room. A single lighthouse beam turns on, bright, magnetic, and points far into the distance. Just like the INFJ's mind, capable of deep symbolic connections, strategic visions, and insights that border on prophecy. But everything outside that beam disappears. Today, we explore the most fascinating and dangerous side of the INFJ and their introverted intuition, NI. A power that can make them masters of hidden meaning or prisoners of their own vision. An INFJ girl sits alone in a cafe. Across from her, a close male friend talks about work. Long hours, vague discontent, a voice in him he's not listening to. She listens. But part of her is already elsewhere. In her mind, the outlines are forming. Not details, but direction. She senses where he's drifting. Exhaustion, compromise, that quiet, sticky relationship that keeps pulling him back. It's not certainty. It's something deeper. A pattern she's seen before, in others and in herself. Three weeks later, he surprises her. A shift, a break, a future she didn't imagine. She nods, but deep inside, attention tightens. Not because he changed, but because her vision didn't include it. What else am I not seeing? In a company brainstorming session, an INFJ proposes a visionary idea. No one gets it. Too abstract. Too ahead of its time. 3 months later, a competitor launches the exact same solution. The team realizes too late what the INFJ had already seen. But by then, the INFJ had already withdrawn, convinced no one would ever see the world the way they do. This is the loneliness of vision. This is the extraordinary power of NI, the ability to construct a deep, unified internal narrative. Like a conductor of the future, the INFJ weaves symbols, emotions, and events into a coherent symphony, one that gives meaning to the unseen. But when that vision hardens, it can become a prison. What once offered clarity starts to filter and then distort reality. The INFJ may begin to reject new information that contradicts their inner model. They might dismiss valid alternatives simply because they don't resonate with the initial intuition. They can even lose touch with the present moment, chasing only what confirms the narrative they've already built. And this is where the shadow of SE, extroverted sensing, emerges. When SE, the INFJ's inferior function, is neglected or underdeveloped, they can drift away from the raw, sensory world around them, missing data that challenges, refines, or expands the vision within. Introverted Intuition, NI. A lighthouse in the night, it shines far, but stare too long into that beam, and you lose sight of what's around you. This is the INFJ's gift and their trap. NI is like an invisible radar pointed at the future. It doesn't rely on proof. It feeds on subtle connections, recurring patterns, symbolic impressions. It's as if the INFJ sees through a hidden lens, one that reads the subtext of reality, not just its surface. Need examples? Think of L from Death Note, sitting still, silent, always lost in thought, yet somehow 10 steps ahead of everyone else. Or Paul Atreides from Dune, haunted by visions, symbolic dreams, and futures drawn on invisible sands. But what happens when that vision, the one they trusted completely, turns out to be wrong? Here's where everything changes. When NI fails, the INFJ doesn't just think, "I misread the signs." They think, "My entire internal system failed." And that can lead to withdrawal, silence, a fracture deep inside, as if the core of their identity just broke. When NI becomes too dominant, too closed, it stops being a guide. It starts being a gravitational pull, one that isolates, distorts, and consumes. Because NI, without SE to ground it, has no brakes. It spins inward, tightens, crystallizes into certainty, and what once felt like vision starts to feel like obsession. The INFJ lives in a world most people never see, but when vision becomes absolute truth, growth stops. Their greatest gift is also their greatest challenge, to see beyond, without forgetting to look around. Does this power sound familiar to you? Or do you live more in the shadow side of vision? Tell us in the comments, save the series, the journey's just getting started. From here, we turn to FE, the empathic heart of the INFJ. But what happens when empathy starts to erase the self? Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.